Let's be real. You're tired. Not just physically, you're soul tired. You're tired of pretending, tired of smiling when you're breaking inside, tired of giving your best to everyone else and leaving nothing for yourself. Every day feels like you're wearing a costume that barely fits, performing a version of life that's expected of you. And deep down, there's a quiet ache, a voice whispering, "This isn't me." The reason you feel lost is because you've been living disconnected from your true self. You've been shaped by what others wanted from you, not what you needed. And that disconnection creates a silent kind of suffering, anxiety, exhaustion, emptiness, not because you're broken, but because you've forgotten who you really are. You've built a life on expectations instead of authenticity, and now it's time to find your way back. Carl Jung, one of the most influential psychologists of all time, believed that true healing comes from becoming your authentic self. He called this process individuation, not becoming perfect, but becoming whole. Facing every part of you, even the ones you were taught to hide. Your shadow, your wounds, your truth. This is the journey of returning to yourself, and you're not alone on it. Before we go deeper, if this is already hitting something real in you, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Join this space of reflection, healing, and growth. You don't have to walk this alone, because this isn't just about psychology, it's about liberation. The longer you live as a stranger to yourself, the more life becomes a performance, and the applause never fills the emptiness inside. But if you're done pretending, if you're ready to meet the real you, stay with me. This could be the turning point you've been waiting for. Jung didn't believe the purpose of life was happiness. He believed it was meaning. And meaning comes from living as a whole human, not just the good parts, but all of you. Think of how many times you've swallowed your anger, hidden your sadness, dimmed your joy just to fit in. Every time you do, you abandon a piece of yourself, and those pieces, they start to go numb. This is where the shadow comes in. Jung described the shadow as the parts of us we repress, not because they're bad, but because they don't match the image we think we have to project. Maybe you were taught that being confident is arrogant, that crying is weakness, that wanting more is selfish, so you buried those instincts, but they never went away. They live in your shadow, and they will keep showing up until you turn and face them. It's not easy work, it's messy, it's vulnerable. But when you begin to integrate your shadow, you don't lose control, you gain clarity. You start understanding your triggers, your emotions make sense, and the most healing realization of all, there was never anything wrong with you. Only parts of you that were never seen, never heard, never loved. So take a breath. You're doing something brave. Healing is not a sprint, it's a remembering. And that brings us to one of Jung's most powerful ideas, the persona, the mask you wear to navigate the world. It's useful, we all need it, but the danger is forgetting it's a mask, confusing the act for the truth. How often do you introduce yourself by what you do or who you're with? I'm a manager, I'm a partner, I'm successful. But who are you when all that is stripped away? Who are you when no one is watching? Individuation dares you to ask that question, and not everyone is ready to, because it means shedding identities that once kept you safe. But safety isn't the same as truth. Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But most don't realize that this privilege comes at a cost. Letting go of everything that isn't you, the approval of others, the comfort of fitting in, the illusion of certainty. But in exchange, you gain something priceless, your peace, your power, your presence. And that's worth everything. The path of individuation isn't linear. It's not a straight road. It's a spiral where you revisit the same wounds, the same fears, but each time from a deeper, wiser place. That's why healing can feel like a cycle. One moment you're free, the next you're triggered. But that's not failure, that's growth. Because now you see it. You feel it, you're conscious, and consciousness is the first step toward change. If this part of the journey resonates with you, hit that like button and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Let's build a community of real, conscious growth. Jung often spoke about the unconscious, the vast, hidden reservoir of our thoughts, memories, and instincts. Most of our life, he said, is lived from that place. We think we're making conscious choices, but often we're just reenacting patterns we never questioned. Until one day, something cracks. A crisis, a loss, a dream you can't ignore. And suddenly, you're awake. Not fully, but enough to start asking, what am I really doing with my life? And that's where the real work begins. Not in fixing yourself, but in understanding yourself. Jung didn't want us to become perfect. He wanted us to become real, to see our contradictions, to accept our humanity, because only when you stop running from your pain can you begin to hear its message. And every pain has a message, that you're not listening to your soul, that you've forgotten who you are. Integration, the heart of Jung's work, means bringing the unconscious into consciousness. It means holding both the light and the dark, the joy and the sorrow, the confidence and the insecurity. It means letting go of either or, thinking and embracing both and. You can be strong and vulnerable, ambitious and afraid, whole and still healing. The paradox is the point, and in that paradox, you find your true self. Not the self that tries to please everyone, not the self that's been shaped by trauma, culture, or fear, but the self that existed before the world told you who to be. That self is still in you. It's always been there, waiting, whispering, and the more you listen, the louder it becomes, until one day you remember, this is who I am. But let's be honest, this journey is not for the faint of heart. It will ask you to grieve the life you thought you wanted, to let go of dreams that were never yours, to confront the parts of yourself you swore you'd never show anyone. But in doing so, you reclaim your wholeness. You become the author of your story. Not the character, not the audience, the author. You start to see patterns, how your childhood shaped your beliefs, how your relationships mirrored your wounds, how your fears disguised your desires. And with that awareness comes choice. Not control, because life is unpredictable, but choice. The power to respond differently, to choose love over fear, truth over comfort, growth over safety. That's the real gift of individuation. And as you walk this path, you'll find something surprising, compassion for yourself, for others, because you'll realize that everyone is carrying their own shadow, wearing their own mask, fighting their own battle. And maybe, just maybe, you'll stop judging. You'll start understanding. And in that space of understanding, healing becomes possible. Not just for you, but for the world. So where do you begin? Right here, right now, with one honest question: what am I pretending not to know? That question, if you sit with it long enough, will reveal more than any book, any therapy session, any guru. Because deep down, you already know. You've just been afraid to admit it, and that's okay. Fear is part of the process. But courage is what carries you through. Start small. Notice your reactions, your triggers, your dreams. Pay attention to the moments when you feel most alive and most drained. Those are clues. Your soul leaves breadcrumbs. Follow them and don't rush. This is not a race to a better version of you. It's a return to the real you, the one who's been here all along. If this video has helped you connect with your true self, take a moment to comment below. Let others know they're not alone. We're all on this path together. Surround yourself with truth, books, conversations, art, nature. Whatever reminds you of your essence, journal, reflect, meditate, cry, laugh, let it all in, because nothing is too much. You are not too much. You are enough, not because of what you've done, but because of who you are. And that truth, it changes everything. You'll still have bad days. You'll still forget. You'll still fall into old patterns, but now you'll see them. And that sight is power. It's the light that guides you through the dark. And every time you come back to yourself, you grow stronger, more grounded, more free. And eventually, something beautiful happens. You stop seeking, you start being. Not because you found all the answers, but because you've stopped running from the questions. You've made peace with the mystery, and in that peace you find meaning. Not the kind that's flashy or loud, but the quiet kind. The kind that fills your chest when you're walking alone, and suddenly, everything feels right. This is the journey Carl Jung invited us to take. Not to become someone else, but to become ourselves, fully, honestly, unapologetically. And if you've made it this far, it means you're already on the path. You're already awakening. And that, my friend, is a miracle. So breathe, smile, take one small step, and then another. You don't have to see the whole road. You just have to keep walking. And every step, every stumble, every pause, every breakthrough is bringing you closer to the person you were always meant to be. If this message spoke to your soul, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it, comment below. And if you're still here at the end, write the word wholeness in the comments, so I know you stayed for the journey. And I'll meet you again on the next step.